Hey everybody, Dan here from Dan's Tri-5 Garage, back with you finally with a real actual video for a change, not a live stream. So I just want to pop in, give you kind of a heads up about what's been going on here, why you haven't seen any videos, and it's not for any real good reason. It's like say, it's just I've been real tied up all summer long. I can't believe that, you know, there's only like 10 days left in July and we're already into August. So I'm way behind where I thought I would be. Unfortunately, just life happens, and I've mostly been trying to get the garages rearranged. I've been working on the back garage quite a bit, and trying to get the stuff here in the top garage to get a little bit more organized. Right now, I mean, it's horrible. And I brought home a couple more things, which I'll show you on this video too. That's kind of contributed to me not getting a whole lot done. Really, the other thing that's been going on is the weather here in Wisconsin. It seems like all it's wanted to do this summer is rain. The nice days that we did have, usually I'm at work, so by the time the weekend rolls around, it never failed. It was either hot and humid, and or it was raining, storming. And what I've been really trying to do is get a lot of sandblasting done, or wanting to get sandblasting done. Because I don't know if you guys have watched any of my live stream videos, because I have done a couple of those. But last fall I finally did get the window delivery back on the frame. So I've been kind of tinkering with this a little bit while I can. A couple weeks ago I finally got out and got the inner fenders and the core support and the inner fender extensions here all sandblasted and painted. Reason being I wanted to do that is so I could get the engine or the radiator all hooked up here, so I can fire this engine up. I was gonna fire it up, you know, without everything hooked up, which I could do. It wouldn't hurt it for just a couple minutes. But I thought, you know what, it's got to get done anyway. So why don't we just go ahead and get this all done, and that way I know where the radiator hoses and stuff go. Because of my gray and white 55, I did that back when I was building that. I just put the radiator core support in it and bolted the radiator in it, hooked up the hoses and everything. But when I finally went to put the front end together, and I'd realized that the radiator was actually tipped forward too much, and I cut the hose too short, so I ended up having to buy another one. So I thought, well, this way, by putting the inner fenders and stuff on, it'll get everything lined up just exactly where it's supposed to be. So the other thing is, you can see down here, I bought a pair of pre-bent tranny cooler lines for this thing from Inline Tube, and they advertised them as for Turbo 350 700 R4. So I thought, well, that'll work. I'll just buy them and bolt them in. One thing I didn't take into account is, like you've seen on some of my other videos, that there is, you know, two different spots for the radiator on the core support. Where the radiator's on the inside of the core support, if it's original V8 car from the factory, and outside of the radiator support if it's a 6-cylinder. Now, usually what I do is I run a long water pump, and when doing that you have to put the radiator on the outside, because obviously, see there, once I put the fan on, there's going to be no room for a radiator here. Well, these lines are actually for a 350 and a 700 R4, just like they say, but it is for the radiator in the V8 position. So these lines obviously are a little bit too short. You can see the fitting there, and then the trans lines, obviously those aren't going to reach. So what I'm going to do is, I kind of thought about this a little bit, and I'm just going to make some adapters with some braided hose here. So I'm going to actually cut those ends of those off, and I'm going to use 5/16 compression fittings on those, which will adapt it to an AN6. And then I have AN6 adapters here that goes into the radiator. I'm just going to make some short jumpers that'll run from there all the way into the radiator. So it's probably a bit overkill, but it'll get the job done anyway. But towards the end of the video here, I'll do that, and I'll kind of show you guys, and we'll do it together. But right now, what I'll do is I'm going to show you what's been taking up a lot of my time, and it is Tri-5 stuff, but I have a bad habit of bringing stuff home, and it eats up all the free time that I do have. So let's walk out back and I'll show you what we got. Okay, so here is one of the things that got brought home. So last week, actually the week before, no, yeah, it was the week before, my uncle from Washington State, the same uncle that I got my red sedan delivery, the one that got beat up on the trip back here from Washington State, he found me this last year to fix the sedan delivery up top. So this thing's got really nice quarter panels on it, or at least this side's almost perfect. And that is the worst side on the red car. Now, this actually belonged to a buddy of his that passed away. And when his buddy had it, it was a nice roller. And like I say, 'cause it's pretty solid, really. I mean, these doors are, this system's pretty nice. The floors are pretty nice. Obviously over there, that's pretty standard to have the driver's foot or the floor pan bad. But really, I mean, the rest of these floors are pretty nice. And he actually had, backing up a little bit, the guy that originally owned this, he has a ton of cars. A lot of original C1 Corvettes, and was a big collector of stuff. So when he bought this, my uncle went and looked at it. But what happened was, he passed away. Not my uncle, his friend. And after he passed away, a tree fell on it and completely caved in the roof so bad that, I mean, it buckled the quarters, I should say that quarter, the filler panel, I think the limb coming down and got the door. I mean, it even caved in the cowl. I mean, look how far that is pushed down. You can see there. So my uncle ended up buying it from his daughter for basically stuff for parts, and then I got it from him so I can fix the car now finally, because I've had that for, it's been over a year. So my uncle came back for a visit and hauled it back here for me, so now I get to tear it apart. So it kind of gives me more to do, because I've got a couple different cars that I'm going to part out also. So that's the other thing I've been doing here is, so this used to be all overgrown, and that 57 Bel Air right there was sitting here, right here in the middle, and it's kind of grown up some more a little bit. I gotta get out here with a mower and cut all that down, but, and it was just overrun with blackberry bushes. So earlier this year, I cleared all this out, pulled everything out, mowed everything down, because I want to build a lean-to off the front of the building here to be able to put some of the stuff under. So, and I pulled out this. This is one of them you guys couldn't see real well before, that was packed into the garage. Initially, when I did my very first car video and showed all my project cars, this kind of was buried back there. Here's some of my extra 56 Fenders. But that's the 210 Handyman with power windows and power seat and stuff like that. So I pulled that out, and I also pulled this out. So that is, and it's almost just as buried as it was before, but this kind of, this side you can see. So this is my original 57 sedan delivery. So I actually put this up on Marketplace a couple weeks ago, just because I thought, you know, with my red one up top, I thought I'd give somebody a crack at having a sedan delivery, because, I mean, they really only made, I think, it was, the Nomad was rarer than this, but I still think they only made probably, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 of them, somewhere in that neighborhood. And it was a completely all original car, but I really didn't have any takers on it. It's, you know, I had people, tire kickers mostly, that, you know, they'd ask what you want for it, and you tell them and you never hear from them again. So, unfortunately, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to part it out. I hate to do it, but there's a lot of pieces that I can use off this for other stuff. So, unfortunately, I'm going to part this one out. and that one out. And between those two, I should be able to make my one up top really nice. And then also the pink 57 four-door that I got last year. I started pulling some parts off it, and I've got a friend that has been needing some parts and stuff like that, so he's got a couple parts off it also. But I think I'm pretty much gonna take everything I need for that off and either use it on the Bel Air two-door sedan or the 150 that I got last fall. You guys seen that? In fact, I don't know that yes, I did too. I did do a regular video on this, so but that'll have a lot of good parts for those two cars, because I'd really like to do something with this. I said, like I told you before, I kind of wanted to make a race car out of it. I think it'd be fun to take down to Bowling Green and go down the track. So here's the other thing I've been kind of working on. So I actually have been working on stuff a little bit today. It's kind of the first day that's been nice enough. Like I said earlier, I've been wanting to come out and get my fenders sandblasted and the splash pan and all that, but anytime I've had time off, either I was rearranging around here, doing other things that needed to get done, or it was raining. So I'm finally coming out. That's why I got all those 56 fenders out. So I picked the best two fenders that I think would work good for that window delivery. So I really want to get the front end on it. I just got this one sanded down today, down to bare metal. You can see everywhere you see paint, there's a couple little dings, so I'm gonna have to fix that. And then I know I've showed you on 57 fenders, so here's a good chance to show you the difference on 56 fenders, that there are actually two different fenders. You got a Bel Air fender, and then you have a 150 and a 210 fender are the same. Obviously, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, because the Bel Air has the two sets of trim holes, and the 150 and 210 just has one set of trim holes. That being said, I am going to use this Bel Air fender because I didn't have very many 150 210 fenders. I'm going to use this on the window delivery. Reason being is you can actually make a Bel Air fender into a 150 or 210 fender, or vice versa. You can take a 150 or 210 and turn it into a Bel Air, if I said that right. Because really, if you look, you've got, let's see, let's start over here. If you count, so we got 1, 2, 3, and that's an oval, 4, 5, 6 holes in a 150 210 fender. So if you come around here, if you look at the bottom, you got 1, 2, 3 oval, 4, 5, and then there's another one up here. This one will have to get welded up. We'll have to drill another one here and weld all those up. Because these lower holes are in the exact same position as the 150 210 ones by height. So I got a little bit more work ahead of me on this, because I have to actually weld up a whole bunch of holes, which I'm hoping, you know, doesn't warp a whole bunch. Where if you were going the other way and was trying to make a Bel Air fender out of a 150 or a 210 fender, you know, you'd have to drill a couple holes, and then you'd actually only have to weld up one other one. But that's my goal now, is I want to get that front end on that car, and then I can start sanding the rest of the car down and get it in epoxy primer. And then I'm going to paint the dash so I can start putting all the brake stuff in, and then I can start moving it under its own power. I'm kind of excited for that. Kind of gotten to a spot here where I can actually start working on the cars a little bit more. So I know I've told you in the past before about my little boy with the open heart surgery, stuff like that. So that's been kind of hanging over our heads a little bit. He just got the all clear for another 6 months. So like I say, it's coming, but we got a little bit of time now. So now I can get out here and work on this kind of stuff and get ready for the Nationals, because I can't believe that it's only 2 weeks away. So I had really planned on having a lot more done than I have gotten so far. But let's go in the garage and I'll show you what else I brought home. right, here is the second car that has got brought home here in the last couple months. So, a 57 two-door hardtop. So now, this car actually, I almost bought, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Lady owned it. Her husband passed away. They had it for a long time. In fact, I'll show you a picture here. So they bought this car, and this is what it looked like when they bought it. Complete running car. So story goes, they bought it, they wanted to restore it, pulled it in the garage, started tearing it apart, and this is how far it got. The husband passed away. The lady wanted to sell it. A friend of mine called me up, asked me if I would take a look at it for kind of tell her what I thought it was worth, or if I might be interested in buying it. So I did. So I went and took a look at it. Now the other thing is this car is a complete car. I mean, I got the fenders, the hood. I mean, it was complete like I showed you in the picture. But the back half of the frame is bad back by the bumper area, so it was boxed in with some C-channel and stuff. So they had bought a frame, which I also got with this up top. It was a bare frame. They sandblasted it, painted it, and then realized, I'm assuming they realized it was a sedan frame, and rather than adding some mounts to it, because you can do that, you can turn a sedan frame into a hardtop real easy. At our local car show here, the Beloit Autorama, they came across this. So it's a complete chassis. I mean, it's all been done already. This is actually powder coated. Rear end's been done, and it's got a original power glide that's been all gone through, and that's an original 57 283 power pack 4-barrel. That's actually a 56 car, but whatever. But it is a 30 over 350, or a 30 over 283. So they bought this whole setup and basically was just going to put that body on this chassis. But when I went to see this they have a hoist in their garage. This chassis was up in the air, and she didn't want me to lower it down, so it was covered with a tarp, so I couldn't see what the engine was. She wasn't for sure, so I didn't really know any much about it. So I made her an offer. A little time went by, you know, and then I found out from my friend of mine that somebody else had bought it. Well, flash forward to a couple months ago, the same friend called me and asked if I remembered the car, which obviously I did. And he asked me if I had any interest in buying it back. So the guy that bought it, which just turned out to be a good friend of mine now, hope you're watching, he offered it to me for what he had paid her, which I was ecstatic with, because after finding out what the chassis was back there, I mean, it was just what I was looking for, and you know, prices of these things have gone up since then. So I know, I mean, he gave me a great deal, because if he wanted to, he could have made a lot more money than he charged me for this, and helped me get the stuff back here, because when I had originally looked at this, it was about 5 or 10 minutes from the house. Well, he ended up moving all the stuff down to Middle Illinois, down by Bloomington. So it was a couple, 2.5 hours away, 3 hours away roughly. So he actually helped me haul all this stuff back up here. So I greatly appreciated that. And I appreciated the deal, because now I know I needed another project, like I need a hole in the head. But now I have all 3-year hardtops. That's kind of was my goal. I've got a 55, a 56, and a 57, because I'd like each one of the 3 kids to have a hardtop. So someday when I'm gone, they'll have the trio of them, hopefully. But yeah, so a little bit about this. So that is original 57 283. It is froze up, so I don't know if when they brought it home, it was running. That's right, it was running. They drove it home, but now it's not froze up. but the number 2 cylinder is just full of rust. So I'm assuming it sat for a long time. It might have had a leak, bad intake gaskets or head gasket or something like that, or head gasket, and it leaked coolant, I'm assuming, into the cylinder because it's nasty. I got my borescope out and looked and sprayed some stuff in there, and I just can't even get it to turn over. I was hoping it would run because then I was going to use it for something else, but it would require getting the whole thing tore apart. So it's not really that bad a shape. It's got your typical partial quarters. The rest of the quarters are really nice. You know, I don't like just putting in a quarter. I like my 56 hardtop up there. I'm putting the full quarters on it, but for this, I'm just going to order some front lowers. It does need a floor. Again, it could probably be fixed. But like I told you before, my days of fixing floor pans like that are done because it's just so much easier and so much faster to replace a floor in it. And it just so happens I have a brand new floor for it right here. So that's the convertible floor and a hardtop floor. So what my plans are, and I know you guys have heard about my plans for a couple of years now, and I get it done, but it's slow. So I am going to take this chassis. I already ordered up some drop spindles, disc brakes and stuff, because this is all new too. It's all original drum brake stuff. My plan, the convertible, sitting right there covered with stuff. I know I said I told you I've been cleaning up in here, and I have, but I also have been making more of a mess for myself. I'm going to take this 283 because it's brand new. I did start it. It fires right up, runs good. I am going to take the power pack, the 4-barrel off here. I'm going to put my dual quads on this, and I'm going to put that engine and one of my 4-speeds in the convertible. Now, I know it's a lot of guys are going to say it's not going to be correct, and I know, because it's not original 4-barrel block, because they did have a different one, but I'm just gonna, it runs great. I'm just gonna put my 4 barrels on there, my dual quads, just basically for looks, because I'm not really worried about numbers matching so much, even though it is a numbers matching dual quad setup. I just want to build a fun, cool convertible that has that look. So, not really worried about the numbers matching. I could have, like I said, I could have went with a clone setup of carbs, but I have them. It is what it is. So what I'm going to do is, I've got another engine that I bought. See, I should have been making videos of all this stuff. I've brought so much stuff home since I've made some videos that I can't remember what you guys have seen and what you haven't. But I'll show you the engine I got up top. Okay, so here it is. It's a 30 over 350 I picked up from a guy. This actually came out of a 56 Chevy, but I picked it up earlier this spring because I was looking for a couple. Actually, I originally bought it because I was going to stick it in that 150, but I think now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean it up and made it with either a Muncie or a Borg Warner, because I got 2 Muncies and 2 T10s sitting here now, and I'm gonna put that setup in that hardtop chassis that's already all done, all brake lines and everything. Bolt that stuff in there. I'm gonna put the floor pan in the 57 hardtop, and I'm gonna put that back on that frame that was originally intended for. I don't know that I'm gonna do a whole lot. I'm gonna fix a little bit of rust there. I don't have any intentions of pulling the windows out, anything like that. The side windows, I mean, I might, because I'm gonna clean up the frames, and I got a lot of good window frames, and if I see anything better, I guess I'll swap it out. But I think pretty much as far as it's apart it is now is how far it's going to be. I do have to put a tail pan in it and the rear 10 inches of the trunk, but it's all pretty minimal. And by the way, here's the other third frame that came with it, still on the trailer. So I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put another rolling chassis together and put that 57 150 on it, because I don't know if you remember, but that car has the frame it's been clipped. It's got like a Camaro or a Nova front stub on it, and I really want to put a factory frame underneath it. So I guess it's because I have so many different cars and so many different parts that every time I get something with extra stuff, I've always got a home for it or a place for it. I know, big dreams, but honestly, I just like playing with this stuff. So, but yeah, I'll walk around this real quick again and show you the other side. And then my uncle also, when he brought this back, he had this thing just loaded full of parts for me. So between the two of us, we have a lot of parts. I started pulling some of this out, a couple of hinge covers. So I do have a little bit of extra bit of sedan delivery parts. So all this was out of that, and there's a whole lot more. Plus he brought me another running 350. I don't know if you might be able to see it in here, but he brought that back for me too. So I do have another 350 that I'll probably put that in that 150 back there with one of the 4-speeds. So that's the other thing. I had a Muncie. It's kind of funny. I had a Muncie M20 that he took home with him because we trade parts back and forth a lot. And I ended up getting another Muncie last Friday. So I'm going to use some of this stuff up. At least that's the plan. So while we're in the back garage, I'll just show you the other car I'm going to part out. So this 56 210, I feel bad because it was this is the original. This was technically, I guess it'd be a 2-owner. This is the one I showed you guys before that has the goofy turn signal there because the guy had one arm. But this thing is, I also had this on Marketplace the same time as I had the other blue sedan delivery on there. And same thing, you know, I think a lot of people are getting scared of the projects because, I mean, that's a major project. I mean, you have to be able to blow everything apart, and I just don't know how many people are getting into doing that. But the problem is a lot of the nice, solid, original cars that haven't been restored already are getting really hard to find. So, especially 2-doors. I mean, they got all snatched up. I kind of think that's why the 4-doors are going up in price. You know, used to be parts cars, but not anymore. But yeah, I think this one, I've started already. Same thing, because I can use a lot of parts off this on my other cars. I can fit the hood. That'll be the next thing. I'm going to take this off and strip that down, and that's going to be the hood that's going on the window delivery. So yeah, brackets and small stuff. It's kind of nice to have this here, that if I needed, I just pull it off, clean it up, and I can put it on. And that way I'll have a little bit more room in this shop, because that's the one bad thing. I love having all this stuff, but it starts to get packed in here, and then you don't have any place to work, and it just becomes storage back here. So I'm really trying to clean up a little bit and rearrange so I can actually work more efficiently in here. And that's kind of what I was doing in the beginning of the year, like I said, at the beginning of the summer, because the 57 delivery sat there. All right, my camera just shut off there because I said it got too hot. But anyway, what I was saying was the 57 delivery sat there, the 55 wagon sat there. So if I part that out, my 56 150 sitting right next to that, and way over in the corner is my 57 210. So I think I'm going to take the pieces off I need off that 210, and I'm going to make the one car out of the Bel Air outside, the 210, or 2-door sedan Bel Air, and the 210 2-door sedan. And I'm going to send that body down the road, kind of open things up in here a little bit more. Because like I say, it was real nice here before I brought this home. This was all open, and man, it was nice to actually have some room again for a change. So same thing here. So all this stuff came with these cars too. I mean, it's not, I mean, some of it's Tri-5, but a lot of it isn't. But yeah, intakes and generators and starters, valve covers, heads, whole bunch of carburetors. That's the old car. That's an old Carter AFB. But literally, I said, like with this 57, they would go to car shows and just, you know, if it was for a 57, they would just buy it. I mean, so that all came with it. So I have a whole bunch, or got a whole bunch of stuff with this car. So I don't know, I'm just kind of looking forward to putting it together, not going real far with it. I actually have a brand new set of door panels for this car that I've had for years, and it just happens to be the right ones. So yeah, I just kind of want to put it together. So that's the other thing is, here's another engine I bought that was supposed to run, but same thing, just like that other engine. This was a 350. This was a running 350 that was in a 55 Chevy, and it got pulled out because they put a bigger engine in it, and I just wanted something that ran, but it had been sitting for a couple years. And same thing, I looked in the borescope, and that cylinder and this cylinder had rust in them. So I'm assuming the same thing happened. Bad head gasket, it leaked down, and unfortunately, so now that's going to have to go to the machine shop. So I'm going to pull it down and send it in and see if I can save it. But it did come with a nice air gap intake. So I'm going to put this air gap intake, clean it up. But I'm going to... Okay, this thing is being insane today. I don't know why it keeps shutting down. But anyway, yes, that's the intake manifold I'm going to throw on that. Clean that engine up best as I can, make it look good. Stuff it in that thing. Call it a day. Alright, so anyway, let's go up, and I'm going to start making these tranny lines, and I'll show you what I'm going to do to adapt the shorter lines to the radiator on the outside of the core support. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and put the AN style adapters into the radiator. I love making stuff with this AN style fittings. Like you can see over here, I made them for the fuel pump, fuel lines. I made them up here. The stuff is just so adaptable that you can adapt pretty much anything you want and make anything you want. Like in this case, you know, I'm gonna cut the ends of the lines off because what that has is the original style male, I guess you would say, or female opposite nut on it, where it would thread onto the original fittings that, like this for a 55. They look almost like that, but they're a little bit different. So what I got to do is I got to cut these off because I'm going to use those compression fittings there, put those on the lines. So I'm hoping I can get this in here with enough space to where I still have enough to get my compression fitting on there. But we'll try it and we'll find out. Alright, so I went ahead and cut that, so I think I'll have just enough room for that compression fitting. It should be just long enough. So I think what I'm going to do now is I am going to pull the radiator out. It just makes it that much easier to get to it, and then we'll see how it looks. Okay, now with any luck, this fitting will just fit on that. It should be just about the right length. So let's see what we can do. Now if you've never dealt with a compression style fitting, these things, you use them if you want to, usually it's for connecting two pieces of line together, like say a fuel line or something like that. Don't ever use them on a brake line. They say that's a big no-no. But if for something like this, for like low pressure applications, you got that little ferrule there and it slides over that, and when you tighten these two up, it tightens everything down and makes a good seal. So let's see if it fits on there. Alright, so the ferrule goes on first, and we have the little brass piece that slides right over the hose or the pipe, and this threads in, and when we tighten this all up, it'll be nice and leak free. And what I use on these, so it's an aluminum adjustable wrench. They have a full set of AN wrenches you can buy for these, but I recommend if you're ever going to use these AN lines, you buy one or two pair of these. I mean, you can get them off Amazon for like 10 or 15 bucks, because then you don't mar up your fittings. Alright, and that's what they look like all assembled. So it should be nice and leak free. Now I got to get the radiator back in, and then I can start making the lines that go from this to the male ones that stick out of the radiator. Alright, so now I have the adapters threaded on. So these are the pieces that the line's going to go between. So as you can see, that one's not going to take very much. It's just going to be a really small chunk of hose, probably in the tune of maybe 2 or 3 inches. This side is going to be a little bit longer, so a hose about that long, so maybe 3 or 4 inches. So let me measure these, and then we're going to cut some hose and put the fittings together. Alright, there they are. So one a little shorter, one a little bit longer. So let's get them put on there and we'll see how it looks. Okay, there you have it. So there's that side and that side. So now all I gotta do is tie those tranny lines up a little bit so they're not gonna bounce and rattle around, and it should work. So is it overkill? Yes. But will it work? Also yes. So as long as it works, that's all that matters. It looks pretty decent. And now I can use what's there. Alright guys, so I'm going to try something a little bit different with this video. So normally I do use a little bit of parts identification, which we did a little bit already on that the 56 Fenders up there. So, and I got a couple more ideas of stuff for that. I'm going to dig a bunch of that out. But for now, since we already did a little bit with that Fender, I'm just going to do a little parts quiz with you guys. So I'm going to try to do this from time to time in some of these videos. So I'm going to get a part out and see if you guys can figure out what year, model, and what part it actually is. So I'm going to start this one with kind of a little bit of an easy one. So this molding right here, who can tell me what that is? Kind of drop it in the comments below and see what you think. Like I say, in the meantime, I will find some more parts to dig out and show you guys some parts identification and what the difference of different parts is and what models and years. But for now, I'll take a look at that, see if you can tell me what it is. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me for today. So we covered a lot today for what doesn't seem like a whole lot going on around here. There actually kind of has been. Not as much work getting done as I'd like, but I had a lot going on with these other cars. Like I said, so I'm trying to think how many of these cars I'm going to be parting out. So the 56 210 two-door sedans getting parted out. 257 deliveries are getting parted out. The 57 four-door Bel Air four-door sedans getting parted out. And then also I need to start getting at that other row out there that's been out there forever. So, and it looks like it's just going to get ready to storm here. It's thundering. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. But yeah, sorry about the long pause on updates here for a while. I'm going to try to get back with more of these videos now. Going to go back to getting those fenders sanded down, the hood. Try to get basically everything I can in epoxy primer at the very least. I'm kind of dreading doing this roof. So it's a long one. And the doors and the tailgate, so, or lift gate. But I'm back at it. Hopefully I can keep in a good groove here. By the way, how many of you guys are heading down to the Nationals? So we're heading down the Wednesday night before, so hopefully I'll see you guys there. If you see me, stop and say hi. Hopefully I'm going to try to get some more videos out before then. If not, I'll see you there. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.